Hi, I'm Stuart from the Norfolk Honey Company, and welcome back to our university apiary on this very chilly February morning. And today we're going to be taking a look at a brand new product that I've been sent by a new company to me called BS Honey, and they're online. You can check out their website, and they've just introduced a brand new BS National nuke box, but it's unusual in the fact that it's a 2-in-1 nuke box. So today we're going to take a look at this, do an unboxing and see what the construction's like. But before we unbox the nuke box, I just wanted to remind you all that from the beginning of March we'll be producing 3 videos a week again, and remember that those will be going out to our Patreon page, and I'll put the details down in the description below. But for just $1 a month, where you can support us in the work that we're doing, you'll be able to access all 3 videos. We will produce one of those videos specifically for YouTube as well, so one of the videos will come out onto YouTube, but the other 2 will remain on our Patreon page. So if you haven't yet had a chance to take a look at that, please do pop over to our Patreon page and check it out. Thanks to everybody that's already signed up on our Patreon page, and particularly to those of you that are now members of our Google Plus group. And if you pop over to our Patreon page, you can check out the details for signing up to that particular group. We've also got a podcast that we're now releasing, so if you're into podcasts and want to check that out, then again, have a look on our Patreon page and all the details are there for you to see. So let's take a look at the BS Honey Poly Nuke. It's a 2-in-1 nuke, which is unusual. So we'll take it out of the box and see what we've got. So this is the nuke. It's, as I said earlier, from a company called BS Honeybees UK, a company run by 2 young guys called Daniel and Tristan, and their operation is set up in Gloucestershire in the Cotswolds, and they've spent a lot of time researching the type of nuke box that would best suit their requirements, and having come up with a really good format for a nuke box, they've now had it mass produced so that they can provide it to other beekeepers and share some of the very special features that this nuke box has compared to maybe the more standard poly nuke boxes. So we're going to open it up and go through each individual feature that we've got, and then as we get into the spring and we can get some bees into it, we'll give you another recap on it at a later stage. The first thing to say is that the polystyrene is made of 120 grams per litre of polystyrene, and that gives a 20% higher density than most normal poly nukes, and that makes it a lot tougher. You can feel that it's a really firm polystyrene. It's not going to give, and it's certainly going to take a bit of hard wear. You will of course need to paint it like all poly hives, just some external smooth masonry paint, probably a couple of coats as you would for the poly hives like the Maysmore hives that we've had in the past. So let's just open it up and take a look at it. So let's take a look inside and see what comes with the nuke box, and also have a closer look at some of the features. So the first thing to say is that the construction is really solid. This high density polystyrene is going to be really good and solid, and should take quite a lot of hard wearing, shifting around from apiary site to apiary site. So I think it's going to be quite long lasting and hard wearing. It's got the BS Honey details on the top there, which you can't really see, but once it's painted up they'll become apparent. And the roof is actually, I would say, probably twice as thick as a lot of the other poly nuke boxes that I've got. So that will provide a lot more insulation for overwintered nukes, for instance. The nuke comes complete with its feeder, its own feeder, and this has got some really excellent features. If I take out the cover, you can see that the feeder section, where the bees have access to the sugar syrup, is on both sides. and so you can feed from both sides, and that's really useful when you've got it split as a twin mating nuke, and we'll come on to that in a moment. The other thing is that there's a slight camber to the middle of the feeder. You probably can't see it terribly well on the video, but it means that the sugar syrup is going to run to both sides, so you're not going to get a pool of syrup left in the middle that the bees can't access. If I just turn it round, so the really cool feature in the feeder, apart from the cambered surface in the middle, is that you've got this rubber bung which will actually allow the bees to come up into the feeder, and in the winter you can put a slab of fondant in here so that they've got some additional food, but when you're not using it, the bung just goes back in and you can fill it up with sugar syrup and feed as normal. So that's the feeder. Let's just take that off. We also have some details, which is always nice to have. So some instructions, a list of what you'll receive, and then some suggestions on how to treat it and how to fit the entrance blocks, and we'll have a look at those in a moment. So that's a nice touch as well, and again it's a nicely printed leaflet. So the really cool feature about this 2-in-1 nuke box is that you can split the 6 frames into 2 3-frame mating nukes, and we've got 2 entrance blocks for either end, and the entrances are diagonally opposite. So we've got one entrance here, and then the other entrance is diagonally across from it on the other side. We'll put the entrance discs in and show you how that works. So as I mentioned, this is a 2-in-1 nuke box, and the really cool feature about it is that it has this slotted section in the side which houses a divider, a Corex divider. First of all, I have to say that's such a cool feature, because the number of times I've lost dividers because I don't know where I've put them, to have it actually contained inside the nuke is tremendous. So that slides out, and then we can simply slide it into the middle slot, and that then becomes 2 separate nukes which you can use for either building up small nukes or as queen mating nukes. So that's going to be really fantastic. So let's have a look at the entrance discs. So what we've got is the disc itself. There's a washer that fits in the central hole, and they also supply the screw. When you line it up, if you make sure that obviously the entrance is central, and then it is just a case of putting the screw in place and securing it. Okay, so we've got 4 separate sections. One is completely open, and that will allow free access in and out. The second is a queen excluder, so you can use that to prevent any queens that you've got inside from getting out until you actually want them out. Then you've got a completely closed section, and then a ventilated section, so if you were transporting them, then you could put it on there. What I tend to do when I use these discs is to slightly loosen them off when I'm moving the disc around, and then just gently tighten it down so that the wind doesn't blow it around and inadvertently close it off. So this is on the other side. The other thing to mention is that with the disc, just make sure that you get the disc the right way around. There's a little handle, if you like, that you can use to spin the disc round. Just make sure you don't get that the wrong way round. It needs to be facing outwards. So again, just position it, pop the disc in the middle, and then place the screw in, and it's so easy to do. I'm just using the little screwdriver attachment on my Swiss Army knife. So there we are. So that's in place. Again, you can just loosen it off in order to spin it round and then just tighten it down again, and that's fixed in place. And finally, just to add that we've got mesh floor fitted for either side. So again, once we've got that divider which runs down the middle, both sides will have that ventilation, which is really important when you're dealing with small colonies in a confined space. It's also got the legs which raises it up off the ground. I think I would probably use this on one of our stands, or maybe on a pallet or on a concrete slab, so that it's not directly in contact with the ground. But it's nice that they've got these moulded legs that hold it up off the ground and will allow some air to ventilate through the bottom. I should also point out that they've got an integrated frame runner, so we're not going to be crushing any bees. So the divider goes in that side, and you can just see along the edge here that we've got an incorporated frame runner. So all in all, this looks like a really good piece of kit. I have to say I'm genuinely quite excited about this piece of equipment. It's really well made, it's got some fantastic features in it, and I'm really excited about getting to grips with it in the spring. Can't wait for the spring to arrive so we can try it out and see how it works in practice. So the next thing to do is to get some paint onto it and get it out into the field and give it a try. My thanks to Daniel and Tristan for supplying us with these nuke boxes. So it's the BS Honey 2-in-1 nuke box. I believe that they are going to be at all of the trade shows this year. So if you're going to be TradeX, if you're going to the BBKA Spring Convention, or if you're going to the Honey Show, there may well be others as well, but those are the main shows. Please do go along and take a look at this fantastic piece of kit that they're bound to have with them on their stand. And if you do go along, please mention that you saw the video, and I think they've got some special offers lined up for anyone that attends trade shows. Take a look at their website. I'll put all of the details down in the description below, and if you'd like to talk some more about it, then why not come across to our Facebook group, which is Stuart's Beekeeping Basics. Catch up with me on Twitter or Instagram, or pop over to our Patreon page, where you can join us for some more in-depth conversations, not only about the BS Honey 2-in-1 nuke box, but about any topic related to beekeeping. So that's it for today. We'll catch up next time, but for now, thanks for watching.